Now, Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon.
We're speaking with Coney Hatch's Andy Curran. They are about to play the El Mocambo on October 3rd, a show that will be live streamed. And you can see that on Nugs TV. Those are the same folks that bring you all those great Metallica concerts. And as we say in Montreal, bonjour, Andy. How are you?
Très bien. Salut to you, Mitch. And lovely to be talking to one of my favorite Montrealers. No, I'm good. No complaints.
No complaints. So let's talk about this show, because if I understand this correctly, you have not been to the El Mocambo since 1983. And of course, this is this famed club that the Rolling Stones have been at, George Thorogood has been at. In fact, anybody who's anybody has played here. Which, by the way, I guess that means that you as Coney Hatch are somebody because you're playing the El Mocambo. So there you go. That's the cool part of it.
I don't remember too much of because that year, 1983, Carl Dixon from the band just found an itinerary and showed it to me. And we played 120 shows that year. Like, they worked us like rented mules, right? And so it's a bit of a blur. But what I can tell you, the El Mocambo is definitely a very special place in my heart. I saw the Cars the very first time the Cars ever came to Toronto on their debut album. I saw Rory Gallagher there. One of my favorite all-time artists was Edgar Winter, Shock Treatment, and I met Edgar Winter, and my buddy Marco Shark took me to the dressing room, and I had my Frankenstein sheet music, and Edgar signed it, and I got my picture taken with him. So I got a lot of fond memories of personally seeing shows at the Elmo. But that one was a bit of a blur. I remember Demo Safari, the famous photographer, took photos of us there, and we sold out the show. And Carl joked and said Demo was probably more famous than Coney Hatch was at that point.
Oh, the good old days. Now, the last time that you and I were anywhere near each other was a couple of years ago at an Iron Maiden show in Montreal. We were all sort of hanging around in the back there. The band, of course, famously toured with Iron Maiden on the World Peace Tour. Talk to me about that in terms of how does a Canadian band get 40 dates with Iron Maiden? Did somebody in their entourage look at you and go, wow, these guys are good? Was it your manager who went, hey man, I got you a great gig? And then, of course, what do you learn from that band being on tour with them?
Yeah. A great question, Mitch. And I'll tell you, it was a combination of a couple things. The year before, we had played we were on Screaming for Vengeance tour with Judas Priest. Devil's Deck was riding pretty high on MTV. We had some really great radio action in the US. Kerrang! Magazine was covering the crap out of us. We were darlings with them, and it got on the radar of Steve Harris. And Steve told me this personally. Steve became a fan of the band. So when the Peace of Mind tour started happening, there was an invitation from Maiden themselves that we would like Coney Hatch. So I was like, oh my God, I was very flattered that they chose us. We were third on the bill with Fastway, which was Fast Eddie Clark from Motorhead. So it was a very cool triple bill. And what did we learn? Oh my God, man, like, their audience was hardcore. They warned us, when you get on the stage, they are not really going to give a shit about you. You're going to have to earn your place on that stage. So what did we learn? We started dressing a little bit more in black, and went in Rome, do as the Romans do. We changed our set list and played a lot more of the heavier side of Coney Hatch. And we knew that we had 2 or 3 songs to win an audience over, and watching Maiden every night and watching what a machine they were and how they control their audience, we just picked up on that, and we learned a lot from the live presentation. I think it made Coney Hatch a better live band for sure, Mitch.
Oh, it really did. All right, so let me talk to this, because, Canadian bands historically sometimes have a harder time breaking through international markets, and no difference with Coney. After Best of 3, the band sort of says, all right, we're done. What sparked the reunion where you said, hey, you know what? We had something good. Let's go play together again.
Right. Well, Mitch, sometimes tragedy brings us all together, and there was a couple reunion dates that we did. Like, the cool thing about Coney was there was never a bitter breakup. We were all friends. We were just like, this isn't working, and we went our separate ways. I did my solo stuff. Carl went off and did his. Steve joined.
And you forgot to say, and you got a Juno for your solo stuff.
Well, thank you for punctuating that, buddy. So I was having fun with my solo career, and Steve was playing at Larry Gowan, and there was a very cool Toronto band named Harlot, and my friend Tony DeLahunt was the lead singer of Harlot, and passed away very young, spinal meningitis, and was born in England, and we did a reunion show for him, and literally the money went to the family to fly Tony's body back to the UK to bury him in his homeland, right? So the first reunion gathered around because of Tony DeLahunt. The second reunion that sparked Coney Hatch 4 was after Carl's brutal head-on collision accident in Australia, where he really shouldn't be alive. So we basically rallied around Carl and kind of hung it out like a carrot at the end of the stick, like, hey, buddy, get better and we'll go play some shows. And he took us up on it. And we, the very first show, he actually walked to the stage with a cane. And we played in front of Gord Downey's solo band in Hamilton. Amazing reception, and we were like, wow, people actually still care about us. So that spawned a whole thing. And then not to ramble on here, Mitch, but after we played that first show with Carl, we got a call from Frontier Records in Italy, and Serafino said, I would like a new Coney Hatch album. I said, we don't have any new music. And he said, well, write some and let's put a record out. So we got back into the studio together, and that's what started Coney Hatch 4. And since then, we've had some nice reception in Europe and played a bunch of shows in.
Yeah, Firefest and all that stuff. So let me just quickly ask you, because we do have a time limit on this today. In terms of getting back and playing music now, when it's 1982 and 83, the record company's all over you. It's not selling. You need to do this. We need a video. Your hair has to be this way. Your clothes, your shoe. It's just a pain in the tuchus.
Oh, yeah.
Now you come out, you have Sean Kelly with you, and you're playing for the joy of music. How different is it now being in the band, just being able to be the band and not have all this stuff all the time? You have to do this. Yeah, just free. Play music.
Honestly, Mitch, you hit the nail right on the head in terms of why we even do this. It's a brotherhood. We all get along. Sean Kelly, who's been a great friend of Carl Dixon's, is a massive Coney Hatch fan. He's like having a fanboy in the band. Like, we got to do this song. I've learned it. He said he grew up on that stuff. So there's an interesting new energy, like the new kid in the band, right? But you're right. No pressure. We're not trying to change the world. We're not trying to get another record deal. We're up there for the joy of playing together, buddy. And it just is such a different vibe. I think it comes off live that we're having a lot of fun, and there's zero pressure. Where people come up to us and they've got albums that they want us to sign, and we're just happy that people still want to see us, and there is zero pressure, dude, and it is so much fun.
It really is, and we'll finish on this because I know you have another interview at 3:30 or in 3 minutes, but
we could stretch it to 3:35 if you wanted.
Yeah, why not? But the last album, 4, comes out in 2013. That's 7 years. In terms of having fun and not having pressure, does that sort of raise the creativity where there's these juices of like, hey, we've been on stage for a bit, let's knock some out? Sean certainly knows how to write. Obviously you guys know how to write. What do we do? Is it necessary? Is it wanted?
Well, internally, again, here's the new kid, Sean, calling me going, dude, let's, that he plays with Lee Aaron and Helix, and those bands are still active making new music. And he's, why aren't we doing another Coney Hatch record? So when we recorded Coney Hatch 4, there were 2 tracks that we didn't finish. We had bass and drums for them, and Sean knew that, and he said, let's finish those. So we have now. He was the spark that said, get in the studio, Carl and Andy, get off your ass, and what do we got to lose? So we went in and we finished those 2 studio records, and the last time we were in Germany, we recorded that entire show, and Carl and Sean said, "You guys have never had a live album. Let's mix those recordings." So he's been a real spark for us. So I think, Mitch, you'll see within the next 6 months, those 2 studio tracks are going to see the light of day. We are going to record the El Mocambo tomorrow night, the full show. We're going to film and record it. We've worked it out with the Elmo where we have the rights potentially to release that. So we've got the Elmo, we've got the Live Germany record, we've got a couple tracks in the can, and that's the answer to the question. You're going to hear some new Coney Hatch stuff.
So there's new Coney Hatch stuff. Now, Nugs TV is going to be broadcasting it. You have limited tickets available at elmocambo.com as I read this, and nugs.tv.
Yeah.
In terms of that, because Nugs, as I know with Metallica and some of the other bands, that stuff lives on there for a while and you can sort of come in and come out as you need. Is that the kind of deal that you have where if I don't watch it on October 3rd, I can go on November 3rd and watch it? Or is this, no, you boys, you got to watch, if you want to watch this, you got to be here tomorrow?
That's a good question, Mitch. It is, at the moment, it'll stay up for 48 hours. So if you're walking your dog and you miss the start of the show, or you have a date with your girlfriend and you can't make it, you've got 48 hours to see this show. But with our deal with Nugs, if we go, you know what, man, we should put that up again in December, we can put it up. So at the moment, 48-hour window, but there are plans to potentially repurpose it and put it up there. It's quite a good arrangement with Nugs. And as you said, Pearl Jam, Metallica, Springsteen, that they've been around since '97, and our show is going to be broadcast in high def 4K. If you saw the Big Rec show a couple weeks ago, the quality at the Elmo is putting out is fantastic.
And then we'll wrap up on this, but of course everybody talks about the pandemic. How difficult is it to do these shows and maintain an interest and get fans to tune in? Because the whole concept of live streaming sounds great and is great, but sometimes you have to convince a fan, hey, just come and sit in front of your computer for 2 hours, because you're not getting the vibe. You're not there with your buddies. You're alone like I am with my headphones on. You're staring, and it's great. Talk to me about that vibe, and how do you sort of make it an event for a fan?
Yeah, well, you and I spoke a little bit about this. I think that live streaming is an awesome stopgap for anybody that needs to grab, and their favorite band and watch something. There's a great opportunity to do that now with the live streams. I think it's certainly the safest environment you're going to get. There's going to be 50 people down at the El Mocambo, and they're all going to be spread out in cruiser tables. I've just been told that our microphones are going to have a special sort of plexiglass around them. So in case
the spit guards.
In case I'm spitting on anybody, it's not going to hit them. But, the Elmo's gone to great lengths to keep us safe and the patrons there. But it's a strange vibe, Mitch, because I think if you've got an itch that you need to scratch, the live stream is definitely the way to go right now. And a friend of mine said, let's stay positive, test negative, and see if we can weather the storm through this. So I feel very lucky that the Hatch are going to be able to play a show in this environment. It's very cool that we're going to do this.
It's going to be exceptionally cool. And you know what? Going down the road 5, 10, 15 years, I would like to see bands like Kiss or Elton John that maybe can't physically go out there and do a 200-date tour come out there and just do one show that they just broadcast over the world. I think it'll help keep some of our heroes going forward rather than, because, it's not obvious to go out on a 300 show thing. That's a young man's game.
I know, you're absolutely right. And sometimes when, like I had on my guilty pleasure is Cheap Trick. I had 2 Cheap Trick shows that I wanted to see this year. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to see those guys. If they announced that they were playing online, I'd watch it in a heartbeat because I need that fix, right? So I'm with you on that. And, I think it's like you said, it's what we can do to keep everybody engaged at this point and try to, and proceeds will go to Unison Benevolent, which is an awesome, it's essentially a slush fund set up for musicians and people in the music industry that don't have any medical benefits or health benefits. So proceeds from the show, some of them will go to Unison Benevolent, and it's a great way to get the four Coney Hatch guys together again and out of their basements, and we're looking forward to it tomorrow night, dude.
Oh, you can leave Sean in the base. No, I'm kidding. On that, we love Sean. But on that, thank you, sir. Always a pleasure. I know you've got another one, and best of luck. And hopefully, maybe we can do one in November, maybe one in December, and make it sort of a recurring event until the doors open for everyone.
I would love to see some more shows like this with the Hatch. And I want to say bonsoir, monsieur, salut. You take care of yourself. Hello, Montreal. We love you. And I'll talk to you later. Okay, brother?
Absolutely. Merci. Bonsoir. Cheers.
Salut.
Bye-bye now. All right, perfect.